Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on the time when you're watching this video. I hope that you're all doing well and nag-uumpisa na kayo mag-aral for your midterms examination. It's important to start now studying for your midterms examination kasi you will be shocked by the scope of your exam. Medyo malawak siya from weeks number 1 until weeks number 7. So it's important na to build study habits this week, especially during your asynchronous days or yung mga days na wala kayong face-to-face or online classes. With that, before we officially start our last but not the least lesson for midterms, let's have this motivational quote first. Dedicate your studies to everyone who supports and believes in you. Let's admit the reality that mas nakakaganang gawin ang isang bagay if iniisip natin if para kanino natin siya ginagawa. Parang sa Nescafe na commercial, para kanino ka bumabangon. So my question for you now is, para kanino ka nag-aaral? Is this for your family? Is this for your friends? Is this for your boyfriend or girlfriend or even sa crush mo? Or para kanino talaga specifically? So you should think of a person or people who supports and believes in you. If you think of them, then mas magaan gawin ng isang bagay kahit gaano man kahirap or kabigat ito. When you're studying and tinatamad ka, always think of your family. Always think of your boyfriend or girlfriend. Always think of your friends. You're doing this for them and you can do this because of them by the help of God. So that's our motivational quote of the day. Here are some of the study tips that I can give to you since malapit na ang midterms examination. Number one, it's important to familiarize over memorize, which means that we should not just sauluhin yung mga concepts. Instead, we should be able to understand it on our own. Hindi sapat na alam mo lang. You should also learn how to apply it in any types of questions, whether higher order thinking man yan or lower overthinking. Number two, highlight or underline or take note of keywords. So it's important to focus on keywords so that you can remember and understand easily yung mga topics for each week or yung mga concepts or ideas for each lesson. Number three, drill the information repeatedly. So this is applicable sa mga memorizations. Dapat pinapaulit-ulit natin siya. Just like what a cliche says, practice makes perfect. And number four, discuss concepts to yourself. So it's important then na you can explain the topics or ideas on your own. So this is a sign or indication that you have fully understood yung mismong lesson. Hindi mo lang siya memorized, hindi mo lang siyang alam, but talagang totally na-comprehend or talagang pumasok talaga siya sa utak mo. So here are some study tips that I can give to you for your midterms examination, which are also helpful din kapag nag-exam kayo sa finals or even sa college. Now, let's proceed first to our icebreaker or motivation activity, which is jumbled words. So in jumbled words, obviously, you have to arrange these words. And if you want to answer, just tap the raise hand button. So let's start. Number one. What do you think is the answer? Yes, that is figurative language. Na doble, I'm sorry. Number two. For number two, it is a correct. It is a memoir. Number three. That is point of view. How about for number four? Number four is the word is thesis statement. And number five naman is genre. With these jumbled words that you have arranged, you already have an idea about saan ating lesson for today. And with that, our topic or lesson for today is about developing teams by combining multiple elements. In this last lesson for midterms, you will learn how to apply all the things that you have learned from weeks number 1 until week number 6. So let's start. Let's proceed first to the common elements or common genre of creative nonfiction. So number one, we have memoir. When we say memoir, these are collections of memories, either surrounding a single narrative thread or multiple interrelated ideas. So when we say memoir, apologies if I have pronounced it incorrectly from the previous weeks. When we say memoir, it's about the collections of memories in one particular period or chapter of the author's life. Remember, hindi buong life ang sinusulat natin about ourselves. We will only choose the most memorable or the best or the worst or ano pa mang chapter or part of your life. Kumbaga sa book, only one unit or chapter lang ang isusulat mo. For example, if you are writing a memoir about your high school years. So we will write all of the memories na natatandaan mo pa or pinaka-memorable or pinaka-the best during your high school years. So that is memoir. Collections of memories in one particular time or period. How about for the second one? We have personal essay. So when we say personal essay, it's about stories about personal experiences told using literary techniques. If sa memoir, medyo malawak pa yung scope kasi it's about one chapter or period of your life. Ang personal essay is about only one or few personal experiences. Kumbaga, mas maikli lang siya nangyari, mas maikli lang ang pinaka-scope niya. For example, let's say you will write a personal essay about your experience in Splash Island during your acquaintance party. So, napakaikli lang ng kanyang scope and sandali lamang siya nangyari. So, yun yung sa personal essay. We also have lyric essay. So, when we say lyric essay, it has the same subject matter as the personal essay. So, ano nga ulit ang topic ni personal essay? It is about your personal experience or few personal experiences. However, they're different in the way that they are written. Sa personal essay kasi, it is written in prose. Pag sinabi nating prose, it is written in natural and consecutive manner. Sunod-sunod. We are using sentences and paragraph to show relations of ideas. Sa lyric essay, on the other hand, it is written in poetry form. Pag sinabi natin poetry form, we are using lines and stanzas. So same topic with personal essay, pero it is written in poetry form with stanzas and lines. Hindi siya naka-prose. So that's how different lyric essay is from personal essay. Si personal essay ay prose, si lyric essay ay poetry. Si personal essay ay paragraphs and sentences, si lyric essay ay stanzas and lines. And then we also have literary journalism essay. So when we say literary journalism essay, it's about the report on real life events. In other words, we are writing about the events that happened in real life context. So some of the most common literary journalism essay ay yung number one, news articles. Yung mga nababasa natin both sa internet and sa newspapers. Number two, feature articles. Yung mga articles with light topic. For example, about fitness, about fashion, about, let's say, about sa pagpapaganda or pagpapapogi. So yun yung feature essay. You can read this type of essay either sa internet or sa magazines. And number three, we have yung mga writings sa sinusulat ng mga campus journalists, just like the sports writing, science writing, editorial writing, and many more about sa campus journalism. So these are all examples of literary journalism essay. Kasi nga, they report or they are writing about real-life events. So we're done with the common elements or genres of creative nonfiction. Let's proceed in the common elements and techniques. So we have four common elements and techniques. The first one is narration. So when we say narration, from the word narrate, we are writing a particular true-to-life or real-life story. And since it pertains on narration or telling a story, it's important to number one, to choose an effective plot. To choose the plot that is most effective and most appropriate depending sa topic ng inyong text. For example, ng mga effective plots ay yung mga number one, Freytag's Pyramid, yung exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. Meron din tayong in media res, wherein the story starts in the middle part of the story. And number three ay yung non-linear narratives. So non-linear narratives, we are using series of flashbacks. And kahit saang part ng story, doon tayo pwedeng mag-start. Number two, to choose a certain point of view. Dapat ba first person, second person, third person limited, or third person omniscient? And of course, use the best narrative styles. Ano ba yung mga narrative styles? Gagamit ba tayo ng series of flashbacks? Gagamit ba tayo ng foreshadowing? Gagamit ba tayo ng plot twist? Basta yung mga ways of narration na unique from writer to writer. So that's for number one, narration. It's about telling a story. Number two, we have observation. So when we say observation, from the word observe, we are writing all of the things that we have observed about a particular topic. So this aims rather to read, not to read, to write rather all of the tiny details about the topic. So isusulat natin kahit yung mga ultimo maliliit na details about the topic. Kasi we want them to have a mental picture or mental perception about the topic. And speaking of mental perception and mental topic, observation aims to stimulate or utilize our five senses. Therefore, ang dapat na present na literary technique sa inyong observation ay imagery. Since imagery are sentences that utilize our five senses. So this is most common sa travel writing wherein we write all about the details na napuntahan natin mismo. Just like sa Boracay, you will write what you have observed, everything about Boracay. So yun yung purpose ng observation. Next, we have braiding. So when we say braiding, it aims to intertwine or to connect multiple narratives. So in this type of elements and technique naman, we are combining together two or more narratives. Ano ba ibig sabihin nun? Dalawa or higit pang kwento na hindi totally connected to each other, pinagsama sa iisang paragraph or iisang text. Paano natin malalaman? Mapapansin natin na biglang nag-shift ng topic yung ating text. Biglang about sa topic number 1 ang pagkakakwento niya, and then pagdating ng latter sentences, topic number 2 naman. Usually, kapag braiding, we are using more than one point of view. Pwede sa first paragraph, first person point of view ang gamitin mo. And then pagdating ng mga next paragraph, naka third person point of view naman. So yun yung sa braiding. Tandaan sa braiding, it uses multiple narratives or what we call threads. Let's have an example ng braiding. As you can see in this text sa excerpt ng The Crush by Zofia McMullin, allow me to read this first. Your hair is still wet when you slip into the booth across from me and throw your wallet and glasses and phone on the table. And I marvel at how everything about you is streamlined, compact, organized. I am always overflowing, flesh and wants, and a purse stuffed with snacks and toy soldiers and tissues. As you can see, the first sentence ay naka-underline. Yung naka-underline na yan ay narrative number 1 or topic number 1. And then yung number 2 naman ay naka-italic. Yung naka-italic or italicized naman ay narrative number 2 wherein halos totally different siya from the first narrative. As you can notice, we combine two narratives together in just one paragraph. And you can notice din naman, we use two point of view. Number 1 ay yung second person point of view because of the pronouns you and your. Pati rin sa second sentence, yung first person narrative because of the pronoun I. So that is for braiding. We combine more than one narrative. Number four, we have insights. So when we say insights, it's about drawing novel conclusions from the stories that we have written. So insight is more on our own general perspective or our own general opinion about the text that we have written. So anong masasabi natin in general about the text that we have written? What can we conclude as a writer about the text that we have written on our own? So kumbaga, ito yung parang pinaka-conclusion nyo, o yung pinaka-generalization nyo about the text that you have written. So anong pinaka-masasabi mo in total about the text that you have written? So yun yung sa sinasabi nating insight. So we're done with the common elements and techniques. Let's proceed to the 5 R's in writing creative nonfiction. So kindly memorize these 5 R's dahil may isang item, I think, nalalabas about this one. So the first R is about writing about real life. Writing about real life means that everything should be 100% factual, 100% accurate, and 100% true to life. We cannot invent stories. We cannot imagine scenes. We cannot think fictionally about the details or information. Everything should be according to what happened sa totoong buhay. Number two, conduct extensive research, especially sa mga genres or topics we're in, we need to present various information. So it's not enough to only dwell on one resources. Try to look at multiple resources so that you can gain more information about the text. The more information, the better. Number three, write a narrative. So this is the time that we will write a story or narration about the topic that we have chosen. So pipila na tayo, anong narrative style ba? In media res ba? Freytag's pyramid or non-linear narrative? And then paano rin natin ikukwento yung text? Gagamit ba tayo ng flashback? Gagamit ba tayo ng foreshadowing? Gagamit ba tayo ng mga literary elements and techniques? Number four, include personal reflection. So this includes our own insights about the text that we have written. So isusulat din natin dito at isasama about sa mga ating own conclusions, own general perspective, or our own general opinion about the text. So ano yung masasabi natin in general about sa sinulat nating non-fiction text. And number five, learn by reading. So you cannot write well if hindi ka mahilig magbasa. So try to read different non-fiction texts kagaya ng biography, autobiography, so that you will have an idea if papaano mo siya isusulat on your own and in creative way. So again, the 5 R's in writing creative nonfiction are, number one, it should be based on real life. We should also do extensive research. We should write a narrative. We should include personal reflection. And we should learn by reading. Do you have any questions or clarifications about our topic for today? If you have questions or clarifications, then you may tap the raise hand button. And if you have no more questions or clarifications, you may tap the heart button or like button. So let's summarize once again our topic for today. Today we have discussed about combining elements in writing creative nonfiction. First, we have discussed about the four main genres of creative nonfiction. Number one, which is memoir. It narrates about the collection of memories in a specific period or chapter of the author's life. Number two, we have personal essay, which is about the personal experiences of the author. Number three, we have lyric poetry, which is also about our own personal experience or experiences, but it is written with stanzas and lines or in poetry form. And number four, literary journalism essay. It documents about real-life events, kagaya ng mga news articles and feature articles. Number two, we have learned about the four elements and techniques in writing creative nonfiction. Number one is narration, which means that we are narrating or telling a true-to-life or real-life story. Number two, we have observation, which means that we are documenting or writing about the topic that we have saw or experienced in real life. So this aims to utilize our five senses. Number three, we have braiding. Braiding means using multiple narratives, or we are combining two or more unrelated or unconnected narratives into one paragraph or one text. And number four, we have insights. Insights include our conclusion, our own perspective, and our own generalization about the text that we have or I have written. And then lastly, you have learned about the 5 R's of writing creative nonfiction. Number one, we should write about real life, which means that we should avoid including fictional or imaginary events or information. Number two, we should conduct extensive research, which means that we should use multiple resources to gain more information about the topic. Number three, write a narrative. So this is the time that we should choose a proper narrative element, whether Freytag's pyramid, gagamit ba tayo ng foreshadowing, gagamit ba tayo ng different kinds of flashbacks. Number four, include personal reflection, which means that we should write our own perspective or our own side about the text that we have written ourselves or yourself. And number five, learn by reading. You cannot write excellently and properly without reading different nonfiction texts. So the more you read, the more you can write excellently, properly, and uniquely. So that's all for our last but not the least topic for creative nonfiction this midterms, which is about combining elements in writing creative nonfiction. So if you have concerns, queries, clarifications, questions, or anything, then you may type it in the comment box in the Google Meet, or you may send me a private message. With that, thank you so much for your time in listening to this recorded discussion. I hope that you're having a great day. Don't forget to start reviewing for your midterms exam. And of course, do not forget to take care of yourselves. That's all for today. Once again, this is Sir Jeremy Elabanco, your creative nonfiction teacher. God bless you all, and I hope you will have a great day ahead and a great future as well.